Falcon heavy-duty skid plate for rear Falcon shocks is designed for the serious off-roader, and to be used in conjunction with the Falcon Series 3 JK piggyback shocks. In this video, we will show the full installation of the Falcon heavy-duty skid plate. Here is a list of tools you will need to complete this project. You will notice the cut-off wheel and the grinder. This project does involve removing brackets. In addition, you may choose to weld the heavy-duty skid plates, so the welder is optional. Some of the steps are exclusive to welding. You will see this symbol with those steps. Begin by raising the rear of the Jeep. If you are using jack stands, be sure to block the front wheels. Remove the rear wheels. Use a 3/4 inch or 19mm wrench and remove the outer nut. Pry the shock off the stud as demonstrated. If your pry bar doesn't have rubber on it, use a soft cloth between the pry bar and the shock. Using a 6mm Allen wrench to keep the stud from spinning, loosen the inner nut with the same 3/4 inch or 19mm wrench. Remove the stud and spacer. It may be best to completely remove the shock since you will be cutting off brackets. Detach the lower end of both sway bar links using an 18mm socket and wrench. Push the sway bar up and out of the way. Remove the control arm bolt and let the arm hang. Only remove one arm at a time. If you are welding on this skid plate, it is best to remove the arm completely so you don't melt the control arm bushing. To cut off the brackets, begin by marking where you want to cut. You will need to cut off the shock mount as well as the sway bar link bracket. Use a cutoff wheel or a plasma cutter to remove the brackets. Clean up the cuts with a grinder. The axle bracket needs to be flat against the skid plate. If you decide to weld, remove the paint on the axle bracket around the welding area. Mark the space around the brackets and then sand off the paint. The Falcon heavy-duty skid plate has 3 levels. We will show you level 1, since most people will use this positioning for their skid plates. Levels 2 and 3 raise the skid plate, giving you more clearance, but reduce the effective shock length, changing the overall travel. Shorter shocks or other modifications may be required for levels 2 and 3. Attach the skid plate using the sway bar bolt and one of the 3/8 inch bolts and the corresponding washer and nut. Finger tighten the nuts onto the bolts. Mark the center of the top and bottom hole using a punch. Remove the skid plate. Drill pilot holes, then finish the holes with a 3/8 inch drill bit. Now you can reattach the skid plate using all 3 3/8 inch bolts and the control arm bolt. Torque the 3 3/8 inch bolts to 45 foot-pounds. Using a hammer, bend the tab on the bottom of the bracket upward to follow the curve of the axle bracket. If you are welding, these images demonstrate the locations for welding. While welding will attach the Falcon heavy-duty skid plate more securely, it is not necessary. After you attach the skid plate, reinstall the control arm and repeat all the steps up to this point for the other side. Afterward, paint the skid plates. Push the bushing sleeve into the shock bushing. You can apply some grease if it is a little tight going in. Reinstall the upper end of the Falcon shock. Using a M12 by 120mm long bolt, install the new spacer and the lower end of the Falcon shock. torque to 56 foot-pounds. Pull down and reattach the sway bar link, torque to 75 foot-pounds. Reinstall the wheels, lower the Jeep to the ground, and torque the control arm bolts to 125 foot-pounds. Thank you for watching. If you are interested in more Falcon products, visit our website at falconshocks.com.